Brandon back for another episode of SexxPerTease, and today's question is, so I've been dating my boyfriend for like 2 years now, but I'm definitely on the marriage-minded and family track. I want to have kids within the next 2 years and get married, but my boyfriend has expressed that he doesn't want to have kids or get married within 2 years and wants to wait until he's in his later 30s. I definitely don't want to wait that long, so what should I do? Well, definitely being on the same page is important in a relationship. You definitely have to make sure you both are on the same track for having marriage and kids, especially if you are worried about, I guess, if you're a woman, you have to worry about the biological clock and ticking and time and being sure that you're having a baby when it's healthiest for you, because once you're past 35, it is more dangerous to have a child and it becomes more difficult. And some guys, I guess, don't want marriage or kids until they're in a later age, and men do have the option, I guess, of having kids later in life, though they are more likely to develop. Well, I guess for men, they're told that they can have babies at any age, but if you are older, like, old sperm is not healthy and can also result in, like, having babies with issues. So, yeah. But, yeah, if you are in your 20s, which I'm assuming that you should be on the same track, if this is the person you want to marry, like, it's important that you want to do it in the same time frame. I mean, you don't have time to waste, especially if you do break up because you don't want the same thing at the same time. Like, you do have to make sure you have enough time to find a new partner and date and get comfortable and invest that time and energy into that person, that they are the person that you want to marry and spend the rest of your life with. So I do think if this is the person you love, you want to be with, and you do want to marry and have kids with, it is important to, I guess, emphasize, like, hey, this is really important to me, like, I need this now. But I mean, you can't force someone, or even it's difficult to try to persuade someone to get married or want to have kids when it's, like, not what they want at the moment, because, like, you can't force someone into a marriage they don't want to be in, and you can't force someone to have kids that they aren't ready to be a parent to. So honestly, it is pretty much better, I guess, sadly, to break up if you know that you aren't on the same track for marriage and kids, because these are lifelong commitments and you can't really just force someone into, like, agreeing into it when it's, honestly, they aren't ready for it. Because you have to be ready for marriage and you have to be ready for kids if you do really want that in your life. But if you two have already invested years into each other, you have to make sure, like, hey, are you thinking, like, am I the person you want to marry? Am I the person you want to be with? Like, you really do have to question the person you're seeing, like, especially if you have been adamant, like, I want this by this age and this time, and they don't want that by that age and that time. It is honestly just better that if there is no compromise that can be made, or you say, like, babe, we don't have that much time to waste, like, I do want marriage and kids by a certain time, but also they could be practical about it. Like, maybe they know you can't afford a wedding or children in the next 2 years, and maybe your timetable of everything needs to be within the next 2 years isn't realistic, but it is all about compromise and just being realistic. Like, hey, can you actually afford a wedding? Can you actually afford to have children within the next 2 years as well? Because I do think many people are disillusioned by, I guess, heteronormativity, that you have to have marriage and kids by a certain age. But I mean, yeah, like, I know 35 is definitely, like, the cutoff for women. Like, you definitely should try to have your babies before then. Not everyone can be Janet Jackson or Halle Berry having babies at 50. And also, like, do you want to be 50 in your 50s with, like, a newborn? Like, who has the patience for that? But yeah, I definitely think it is better to find people that do have the same marriage-minded track and children track as you, but you also make sure you're being realistic and your partner's being realistic about both you both want. So I would have a detailed discussion with your partner, like, sit them down, like, this is serious, like, I am adamant that I want to have marriage and kids by the time I'm this age or this year or whatever, and if they're really like, absolutely not, I don't want children, I don't want marriage, I'm not ready for that, then you have to accept that answer and be ready to let the relationship go. But if they know that they love you and they definitely want to have a family with you and they are invested in this relationship and they know that you are the person they want to spend their life with, like, then you do have to be more realistic. Like, babe, we need to sit down and have, like, a time frame, like, this is what I want and this is by this. Or maybe you can get married at a certain time and then maybe wait for the kids until you're more stable or you're both ready, but also within, like, a realistic time frame of it as well. So yeah, it's all about compromising, making sure you're on the same page, making sure you actually have the open discussion, like this is what I want by this time, and making sure this is the right person for you, because it is more important that you know that this person is the right person for you, that you actually want to be married to and have kids with, and that you need to have certain things by certain ages, because these are your life, your future, and everything. So don't rush into anything, but just make sure this is the person for you. Hope that'll answer your question, and thanks for joining me for another episode of SexxxPerTease.